She walks the line between the living and the dead, and her sixth sense ability to tap into the heads of criminals helps law enforcement agencies solve criminal cases.
And now Allison Dubois is sharing what she's gleaned from the other side in order to help the living live better lives. Good morning, Allison.
Good morning, Allison.
Hey, thanks for having me.
How can the dead help us to live a better life? I don't understand.
What I've learned from people who have passed is what the regrets they seem to come through with. And I take that and then do the opposite of what their regrets were. So that really helps me. You know, they don't come through and say, I should have hoarded my money. I should have worked more. They say, you know, I should have complimented my wife. I should have helped with the kids more. I should have spent time with my children. And so those are the regrets. So occasionally I'll go and pick my daughter up for a dentist appointment and take her shopping, and we eat fried food and hang out, because that's what she's going to remember, you know, and that's important. So I'm trying to teach people to think outside the box and to really live.
So you're teaching your kids to tell fibs. I
well,
love that.
Well, you know, it was a white lie. It was a white lie. And you know what? That's something she's going to remember forever.
You know, it seems so sad. You write, as you say, you write about in your new book, the regrets that the people that have passed to the other side have.
Right.
It seems so sad.
Yeah.
Do you...
They're coming to terms with it, though, so it's actually a good thing because they recognize it. And it's the fact that they recognize it that can make it right. So, like, when I do a reading for somebody and I bring the father through and I'll say, your father's saying that he's made mistakes with you, that he's sorry he didn't spend time with you, that he never told you he loved you in those words, but he does, you know, things of that nature. And it really does heal something. I'm trying to teach people to make it better before they die and get to that point, to realize in life.
So are they existing on the other side, angry and upset and
not usually. I know that they're portrayed that way in movies and TV, but actually they're quite extraordinary on the other side. You know, moms that were talkative are still talkative and loud.
Oh, so that never stops.
That doesn't stop. No, they'll make your phone ring and nobody's there when you answer it. And the dads that messed around in like the workshop with the tools and stuff are still around their sons that are grown now that do the same things. And it's very cool. They have no lines on their face. They become the age that they were the happiest in their life. Women tend to be more vain and tend to revert to a much younger age. Men don't care so much.
You're not painting a great picture. So I want to go there, all this talking and vanity.
But you get to be whatever you want.
I'm dying to know, now we've got you in the studio, I'm dying to know, do you see things? Do you hear them? Do you feel them? Do you...
All of that. I mean, I've always seen them since I was small. I do hear them. I think they'll probably end up figuring out that there's just some human beings that hear on a frequency different from maybe others. Like a dog can hear a dog whistle that human beings can't hear. I don't think we're so different. I don't think we'll be seen as so mysterious and extraordinary once they figure that out, that it's just a frequency that we can connect with.
But what I'm fascinated, though, is, I mean, to have an abstract feeling about something, you know, I think lots of people have that sixth sense.
Absolutely.
They have that feeling that maybe, you know, something's not right, or...
Yes.
But you've been able to harness it in the most extraordinary way through the crime profiling, which of course was the basis for the television show Medium.
Right.
How do you get that stuff? How do you work on that?
Well, I'm very competitive by nature with myself. I'm like my biggest critic. So if I was going to have this ability, I wanted to be a prosecuting attorney. This was not the job opportunity I had been looking for at the time, you know, but it's the path I've been put on, and I accept that. But if I was going to do it, I was either going to be really great at it, or I was going back to law school. And I was just going to use it in my everyday life. So I went to a laboratory and let some scientists study me, and they gave me some extraordinary tests that I had to, you know, they ask a question to the other side. I had to talk to the other side and give them the answer without knowing what the question was. So it doesn't get much harder than that. And then when I did that the first time in the lab, I was like, oh, wow, you know, and I get last names and know it's a last name. And so that was telling me that I have to do this. This is what I'm here to do.
But just on that, dealing with crime must be extraordinarily taxing.
Yes, and in this book I actually talk about that, and I'm taking a little bit of retirement now after 7.5 years. I'm a little wiped out.
Yeah.
So the last case that I worked was for a talk show host in Chicago, in America, and I worked a case and allowed them to film it so people could see what it was like. But I had always said I would never do that. You know, it was something that I wanted to stay away from, just to not make it entertainment out of that.
It's almost a betrayal in a sense.
It was a hard situation. I was already booked for the show. I was already going. They already set me up to read people on it. There was a missing kid in my home state the parents contacted my husband, Joe, and the only way I could work the case was to incorporate it into the show, you know, into that. So I let them follow me for that so I could work the case.
What do you, what gives you the most self-satisfaction with your abilities?
When children get it. I love it when they come to my book signings and I look at them, I'm like, you see them too, don't you? And it's so satisfying to me that I can take that generation and make them not so hardened, you know, that they get it. If they don't shut down, they're very open people.
How can you teach kids, how can you encourage it in your children? Because I think my children see things,
Sure.
but I don't want them to be scared.
Right.
Because
Well,
I was scared as a kid.
Sometimes
Well,
it's...
yours do too, don't they?
Yes. Oh, mine are quite good at it, actually. My oldest is very competitive with me. I'm like, okay, grasshopper,
great.
you know. You guys, you know, mommy's been doing it a little longer than you, so just stand back, you know. But she's very good. If you talk to them in terms of angels, or, you know, grandpa's your angel, or, you know, your daddy's your angel, whoever's passed, it softens it for them, because there's something within a child that an angel is gentle and good, and so it takes the fear away as far as something ethereal that's around them. So I find that works very well, and if they want them to go away, all they have to do is tell them to go away. And parents that don't have abilities can talk to the other side and say, please protect my children, please watch over them. And it's very much like prayer, except there's actually somebody who's passed there that helps to make the answer to your prayer come to pass.
Very comforting.
Yes.
You've said about your middle daughter, Fallon, that she is, let me get this right, able to locate objects like nobody I've seen. Now,
Yes.
what do
She's
you
a
mean?
finder.
She's really good. Well, when she was really tiny, like 4 or 5, I was like, I had the flu, and my husband Joe had lost his razor, and he looked like he was going to lose enough blood to, you know, take him out of this world without his special razor. So I said, can you close your eyes and visualize just like a blank white sheet? And where do you see Daddy's razors being? And she said, in the drawer in the hall. And so our other child apparently had hidden it, and it was in the drawer in the hall. So with her, I can play these games, or I'll say, we'll pull up in the car after going shopping, and she'll go, give me the sucker in the glove compartment. And it's like, okay, you know, because we had just bought one and it was in the glove compartment, and like, how did she know? You know, so she's just very good at food, especially locating the candy and stuff, so it's kind of funny.
The title of your new book is The Secrets of the Monarch.
Yeah.
Can you tell us why, and its relevance to the song Circle of Life?
Oh, that's my dad's song. My dad's passed, and he brings it through to let us know he's around. And it was something that when my dad had died, it was his song for my daughter Aurora. And it was my daughter's birthday, and it was the first year he'd passed. And I said, you know, could you do something for her, you know, for her birthday? Like, could you play The Circle of Life? And it came on, like, right then. And it was just, I mean, you ask them, you tell them what you need, they do it. I'm very touched by my dad. Still struggle with the loss. But it makes sense if you listen to the song and never take more than you give.
Right.
You know, and I love that.
How difficult is it, though, if you... and the book is all about assisting people to get in touch with people that have passed. How difficult is it if you've had a very strained relationship with the person that has passed?
I see that a lot. I think it's important for the living to understand that when people make mistakes in life, especially our parents, that when they pass, they see their mistakes and they want to make amends, and that that's not something that you need to carry with you. Dads that didn't convey their affection enough is a big one that comes through, because moms tend to be more affectionate. Occasionally it'll be a mom, but often it's a dad that comes through. And if people keep in mind that they can shift their energy on the other side, and that they're not the same person they were in life exactly, because they lose their issues. Like if they were raised during the Depression and it was more about working because they wanted to put food on the table instead of holding your children, we have to understand that was because that was the time they were raised. It's not that they didn't love us. So that you have to change your perspective, shift it, and then realize that they as well have and would be more affectionate now. And they always say, I'm going to try and help you from the other side to make it up to you. You know, I'm going to be there for you now. So that's important.
How can we encourage them into our lives? How can we be open to it?
They don't even need encouragement. They're there. They're actually usually very frustrated that they'll send people a sign and the person will go, wow, you know, that perfume smelled just like my mom's. And then they'll go, oh, but it couldn't be. And they'll explain it away, and they're just like beating their head against the wall going, I'm trying to give you what you're asking for from me, and you're not hearing me. So I just always ask people to keep an open mind and to let your spirit be as strong as your mind, because if you overthink things, you miss a lot of it.
Yeah. So take notice of the smells and the sounds.
Old men liked the cigar smell. A lot of grandmas, the perfume, because that was identifying marker for them. Sound, definitely. Books, songs, things like that that were directly tied to the deceased will keep coming up.
You have a dedication in the book to Steve Irwin.
Yes.
Why? And would you ever assume to try and get in touch with someone like Steve Irwin?
I put him in the dedication because I watched him on TV with my children for years, and he's big in America. And I used to look at him on TV and talk to my husband Joe and say, he really got it. I said, that's one person who is passionate, they're living their passion, he loves his wife, loves his kids. I was like, he gets it.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see a human being that truly almost seemed bigger than his physical self. He exuded that light. And when he died, it devastated our family, you know, just because he was such a good person. But I know good people die to inspire the world. He was one of them, unfortunately. That's what it cost for all of the rest of us to have an awareness of what good truly is. So I put him in there. As a wife, my heart goes out to his. I can only imagine the children. That's hard. His son probably won't remember his dad.
Yeah.
He'll have to learn about it through other people.
Yeah.
So I really felt like I needed to pay tribute to him in the book.
And thankfully there's lots of videotape for them to watch
Of course.
as well.
Well, and when I do readings, so often the children that didn't get to have the feeling of what it was like to be held by the father, things like that, it's something that they search for. So I would imagine his son will have a son and name it after his dad, and then he'll understand the connection better. So I see the evolution of family and the generations is very beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. Because you hate to think of, you know, once someone's died, you hate to think of family holding those grudges and
Yes.
and still being angry
Right.
at
What a
them
waste.
for the things.
It's a waste,
Yes, it is a waste, isn't it?
It's definitely a waste, and people need to learn how to let go of that. It's no way to live. It's no way to live.
I have to ask you too, you mentioned earlier you go to book signings.
Yes.
And you have this uncanny knack to write in the cover.
Yeah.
The
Oh, this is fantastic, yeah.
Epitaph on the headstone.
Yeah, I didn't even realize I was really good at that until the last couple of years when I had enough people run out of the room, you know, screaming, which makes me feel really bad. I told
Like a
my
witch.
I told my husband, I said, imagine what it's like to live a life where you make people burst into tears. I'm like, you know, you have to be pretty secure as a person to do that, you know. But, you know, it soothes them to have that conversation. Now,
But are you aware that something's
No.
entering your awareness?
I know that when I'm signing the books or when I'm giving a speech, I never have written a speech that I've ever stood at the podium and said. I just get up there and whatever messages need to come through me, you know, I say come through me, and I pass on the messages, and it's always the right message at the right time. And when I sign the books, if there's somebody there that's passed and there's something that should be said, my hand just seems to write it. And it's not everybody that it happens for, but it does happen at my signings, so it's kind of cool.
Literally, wow, that's quite extraordinary. It's such a pleasure to meet you, and I know that lots of people will get comfort from this book.
Thank you, I appreciate that. That's why I do it.
Yeah, well
Thank you
done.
so much for your time
Thanks
this
for
morning.
having
Lovely
me.